Taking risks in life can be very daunting, and the thought of risks often prevents us from taking action in the first place. Today, I'm going to show you how to overcome your fears so that you can greet risks with courage and win. Check this out. Hey, welcome to the Power of Quiet, showing you a power inside of you in which you have the ability to have, do, and be whatever you choose. All you have to do is just get out of the way all the concepts of limitation in your mind and all the negative feelings that have been weighing you down. And this is something that you can let go of easily and quickly. And that's what we do here on this channel. We show you how to easily and quickly let go of all the negativity that's blocking your vision of just how powerful you really are. Now, if you're new here to the channel, hit subscribe. And if you like what we do here, hit like, share this content, because we're just out here to show you how to be naturally positive and naturally successful in your life. Now, today I want to talk about taking risks. And the idea of taking risks, it brings me to a quote that I once heard, which is, the most dangerous creation of any society is a man who has nothing to lose. And put in that context, it does sound like a scary situation to be in a position where you have nothing to lose, because it kind of sounds like a person who's in desperation. And that type of desperate person can definitely be very dangerous. But being in this position of having nothing to lose, it also has a very positive side, because it also puts you in the position where you're just inherently courageous. And you're also in the moment. And this is something that is reflected both in the teachings of Lester Levinson, a great master, and Eckhart Tolle, also a great master. They both have talked about, like, when you're taking action towards a specific goal, to not worry about, the fruits of your labor, not to worry so much about what you're going to get out of your action. Because when you're focused on, well, what am I going to get out of this? You're off thinking into the future. And you're not really in the moment with the action itself. But if you just let go of, like, what am I going to get out of this? And at the same time, what do I have to lose by doing this? It just brings all of your attention, all of your focus, all of your love right into the action that you're taking in the moment. And it makes it just a very, just an action of quality, right? It just brings the quality of the moment and it brings your love right into the moment. And here you are, just doing what you're doing for the love of it. And then the fruits of those actions, they just sort themselves out. And when your attention is just in the now, those fruits, they blossom beautifully. Now, this is something that I was recently experiencing, because over the past 6 months or so, we've been doing a special class where we've been combining releasing, letting go, with trading in the markets. And I've been doing this class with a good friend of mine, Danny Attridge, who is a veteran trader. And through this class, I've been learning how to trade myself. I'd never traded, ever, in the markets. And having gone through and learned this course, this past week, I found myself just jumping in and starting to trade right for the first time. And it brought up, like, all of these consequences, because, when you put money on the line, right? As soon as you initiate a trade, it's like, do-doom, 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 right? Money's on the line. Everything's at stake. And I got to practice what I'm going to show you here, how to drop the fear in the moment and just focus on the end result without worrying about having it or what's going to happen, and watching those results come in. And let me say, in the past couple of days since I just jumped in and started my first couple of days of trading, the results have been spectacular. And if you want to learn more about this course, it's called the Money Alchemy Course. You can still get in. I'll put a link to it up above, also in the description below, so you can check it out. Something pretty wonderful. And if you're into that, I highly recommend it. But let's take a look at letting go of this fear and where that puts us. You see, when you let go of the consequences, like the idea of risk, it does three things for you. Number one, it gets you to not hold the wrong thing in mind. Let's just put it that way. Because when you have something that is at risk with what you're doing, like, when it comes to trading, you're putting up money, that money is at risk. And if you're thinking of, I better not lose this money, I better not lose this money, I better not lose this money, what are you holding in mind? What is that image that you're carrying around with you? Losing money, right? You're just holding the wrong thing in mind. And that mind, it deals in pictures. You see, if I tell you, don't fall down, what do you get a picture of? Falling down, right? The mind doesn't process the words not or don't. It just goes right to the picture. And the mind, it's a creative instrument. So when you have that picture, it manifests. That's why, like, when you tell somebody, hey, don't drop that or don't spill that milk over there, and you turn your back, what happens the very next moment? Boom, the milk gets knocked over, right? So you just plant that image in and it manifests. So that's the first thing that happens when you let go of holding in mind, what do I have to risk? You just take that consequence out of your consciousness. The other thing that happens when you let go of the risk or the consequence is that you can see things clearly and you're not reactive. And I got to experience this in some of my trades in the past couple of days, where I placed a trade and started going the wrong direction. And instead of freaking out and going, oh, I better jump out right now, I looked at where I was going, and before just making a rash decision, I said, oh no, I think it's going to come back. I could see what it's doing. I think there's a chance it's going to come back. I just let go, and I let it come back, and I avoided a loss. But if I listened to the fear and that reactivity of the mind, like screaming at me, I would have made a wrong decision. So by just taking that out of your mind, it just quiets your mind. You just simply see things clearly as they are. You just have the ability to discern in the moment. And the other thing, and probably the most important aspect of taking the risk out of the equation of whatever actions you're doing, as well as the reward, is that it just puts you in a nice, comfortable position. I don't know how to describe it. It's just like you're not so desperate about the results, right? You're not so desperate to win, and you're not so desperate to avoid losing. It's just like it feels all the same to you. And now part of the mind might say, well, that doesn't sound so great. It sounds kind of blah. But I tell you, it is really a very alive and an awakened place to be at. And when it comes to taking action, you can still take action. You can still have goals. But the feeling is just like, it's okay if it works out and it's okay if it doesn't. And what happens is that you just have a natural positivity inside of you that awakens. And this is a positivity that doesn't need to be programmed into you. And that's a big mistake with a lot of self-help coaching. They try to, get you to program in positive thoughts, positive feelings. And that's silly because you're naturally positive inside. When you remove all the negative thinking, you're just naturally positive. And so to describe this sensation, it's like you have your goal. It's okay if you get there. It's okay if you don't. But your feeling is like, yeah, I can get there. And I can get there easily. It's just a comfortable destination. It's just like the best way to describe it. It just feels nice and easy and comfortable. Isn't that a great experience to have when you're jumping in to achieve a big goal of yours? Just to feel nice and easy about it rather than, this might happen or, ooh, this might happen. But just feel nice and easy. It's great. So how do you get that way? Well, like I said, it's not about changing your thinking. So it's not about kind of reprogramming your mind to erase the risk, but it's looking at what gives weight to the thoughts that you have about the risks that you might take in life. So let me just take you through it. Think about something that you would like to do, but would be really risky. Maybe it's starting a new business. Maybe it's making a big move in your life, changing cities, changing countries. Maybe it's changing a relationship. But yeah, it might seem really risky. Either just stepping out of your comfort zone or taking a big step where you might stand more to lose than you have to gain. And just notice, like, you want to gain this goal that you have in mind, but maybe you haven't taken action because of the risks involved. Right? So do you have something like that? Something that you would like to do, but you've stopped yourself from doing it because, well, you've been considering the risks. So just think about that thing now. And think about those risks that might happen. Now, as you're thinking about the risks, here's the thing. You're using your mind to think about it. And the thing about the mind, I mentioned before, it's a creative instrument. But the other thing about it is that all it is a recording and playback machine. It just records information that you put into it, like you read a book or you watch somebody talk to you. Your mind's recording in what's going on. And then it replays it back to you later on. Oh, you know what I read? Or you know what so-and-so said? That's what it does. It just records things and it plays it back to you. And there's a lot of negative stuff in that mind. A lot of thoughts that don't serve you. A lot of doubts. A lot of I can'ts. A lot of thoughts of risk that stop you, right? So that mind, which a lot of times you treat as your friend, like that's the thing I need to go to if I want to get something done. It's there to help me. But a lot of times it's not your friend, right? It talks you out of doing something that you would like to do. It takes you down into dark, negative thoughts. It tells you to beat yourself up. It's always bringing up stuff for you to worry about. It's always judgmental and critical, both towards you and towards others. So if you really look at that mind, that sound in your head, right? Sometimes it plays nice things, but most of the time, I dare say 90% of the time, a lot of it's really negative. And when you're thinking about taking this risk, all right, maybe it's like a big goal of yours. You might have a few positive thoughts like, oh, wow, that would be super great if I could manage to do that. But probably the overwhelming thoughts are, oh, well, this might happen, and you could stand to lose this. And, oh, you'll never do it anyway, you're not good enough. And, oh, it's too late, you missed your opportunity. Right? So you might have some positive thoughts, but you got a bunch of negative thoughts in there too. And what is it that gives those thoughts a lot of weight and a lot of meaning? Like when that thought comes up, you, who that thought is talking to, you decide, oh, I better take that thought seriously. Now that thing that gives it weight is the feeling, like the fear, right? See, if you had a thought like, oh, I could risk this or I could lose this without any fear, it's just a thought. And you can look at that thought and go, that's not necessarily true. Or, you know what, I'm going to overcome that anyway. I'm going to find an answer. But when you have fear backing up that thought, then you're like, no way. I'm not going to even touch that. Right? So we don't have to change the thinking. All we have to do is just let go of that negativity, that fear. See, it's the negative feelings that we've accumulated that fuel the negative thinking. When we let those negative feelings go, the negative thinking, it just disappears. And like I said before, what arises in the absence of that is something very positive and very constructive. So let's check this out. Now think about that risk, that thing that you want to do, but there's a risk involved. Think about that risk. And just imagine if that happened, right? You lost that money, or you made a big mistake, and you're like, uh-oh, I'm really screwed now. So, from the neck up, all it is just that recording and playback machine, right? That I was talking about. That's the mind. It just records things and it plays it back to you. But from the neck up, it doesn't erase anything. Where we can erase them is from the neck down. And this is where we can get in touch with our feeling center, get in touch with that fear, and we can let that go. So, as you're thinking about, right, making a mistake, or that risk, that consequence that happens, just get in touch with that. Uh-oh. And you feel that? And if it helps you, you can close your eyes, put your head down towards your stomach or chest, and you just might feel like a lump in your chest, or just like a vacuumous pit of darkness, like in your stomach or chest. You feel that? Now, we're not going to make anything out of that. It's just energy that's showing up in your stomach or chest right now. And you don't need to know where it came from. You don't need to analyze it. You don't need to know anything about that. All you need to do is, wherever you feel that, open up an imaginary window or door right in front of that feeling. And it might feel like just like a tense, tight, contracted feeling, like, ah. All right, so wherever you feel that, just open up an imaginary window or door right in front of it. Now imagine this energy, just energy there, moving out that door. Whatever that looks like to you, just imagine that as energy leaving out that door. And imagine that energy leaving out that door a little bit more. And a little bit more. And a little bit more. And even more. And do you feel it moving? Just moving, nice and easily, out that door. It's just energy. You don't need to make anything big out of it. It's not good, it's not bad. It's just energy. Passing on through, right out that door. So welcome up some more energy. Wherever that came from. It's almost like it kind of comes out of a tube somewhere right from the center of you. But see if you can just welcome up some more. Let it come up. And wherever it is, wherever it's showing up, you feel it. You might feel a contraction around it. Just open up that door and let some more of that energy go. And even more. And even more. And let some more of that energy go. And even more. And notice how that feels. Just notice if it feels lighter. You notice that? Just a lighter, more spacious feeling. Now, what you're effectively doing is pulling up your fear and dropping it. And see, what most of us do is either we suppress our fear because we don't like it. Like, oh, fear, I don't want you here right now. Get out of here. So we try to push it away or we push it down. But we're actually holding on to it when we're doing that. And the more we do this as we go through life, this is how we end up collecting fear. We just collect more and more of it as we go on through life. But now when you just open up the door, you're reversing this process and you're letting it go. Another thing what we tend to do is we try to escape the fear. Either we rationalize it, we try to think happy thoughts or whatever, but that doesn't make any difference. Oftentimes we're just kidding ourselves. And we end up getting sucked in by that fear anyway. But this simple method of feeling it right where it is, opening up that door, we actually let that fear go and it's gone. It's really gone. And you can continue. See, right now, if you feel lighter, you've let go of some of that fear. And like I said before, it's almost like a tube where like there's more where it came from. You can actually pull up more. Like kind of get in a grip on it, like pulling up on a rope, right? You're pulling on it, pulling some more. Pull up some more fear. All right? You probably have a lot of it just going through life. And you don't need that fear. Fear doesn't help you. So pull up a little bit more. And just let that fear come up. You could probably just feel it. You start feeling like a tightness or tension in your stomach or chest. Open up. Open up a big door right in front of it. And see it as just energy. And let that energy pass through. And let it pass through even more. And even more. And even more. And even more. All right, how does that feel? And did you experience that? Like you could just pull up some more. Or you can just allow more to come up. Or you can just call more fear up. You can just say, fear, come on up. Right? Try it. Right? Just say, fear, come on up. If there's more there, come on up. And just see if it comes up. If so, again, keep that door open and let that fear go. Just let it go right on out that door. And what this shows you is that the fear belongs to you and that you're in control. The fear isn't in control. A lot of times we're going through life letting the fear be in control. We're acting like it is in control. And that's why when we take a look at taking risks in life, we don't want to because that fear's talking to us. So we miss out on opportunities and we're living in fear, and that's no way to live. But just notice how you feel now. Isn't that lighter? Right? And it might just be just a little bit of a lighter feeling. And that's not so bad. See, that's all we're looking for. And what that lighter feeling is all that natural goodness and positivity that I was talking about earlier automatically showing up when you get that negativity, the fear, out of the way. So play with this and take a look at what decisions that you make after you bring up this fear and let it go. Because you could take a look at it right now. If you take a look at that thought that you had about what it is that you want to do, which was risky, think about doing it now. And see if you feel more confident, more positive about it. Maybe just a subtle sense of, yeah, I can do that. I could do that a little bit more easily now. You see, your thinking naturally changes. It just harmonizes with positivity. So you don't need to go screwing with your mind, trying to reprogram yourself. Just get rid of the bad programming. You're in charge of it. You're the owner. So play with this and see what life turns into as you continue letting the fear go. All right? And again, if you like this, found this helpful, hit like, share this with your friends. Let's make the world a more positive place. And I'll see you on the next video.